In episode 12 of Blackish, entitled Lemons, Dre and the family, they try to make lemonade out of lemons as they dissect the Trump win in tonight's episode. Hello, who's calling me? Guys, join us for the Blackish After Show.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I love this song. This is probably one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah, oh man.
Wait, did you just hit that high note? That was nice. I can't even.
I grew up listening to this song. Not because I wasn't born when the song came out, but my aunt, she left a bunch of 45s home when she moved out of the house. And this was one of them. So, like, I grew up listening to all of her old music she left behind. Yeah.
Wow.
So I used to listen to this on 45, all the scratches and everything.
Marvin Gaye is from the neighborhood that I grew up in, D.C. specifically.
Is that right?
Yeah, we have a park that's right by where he, like, the area. Like, I'm literally in the neighborhood that he grew up in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's still just as low income in hood as it was back then, though.
Oh, my goodness.
But anyway.
Yeah, well, hey, guys. Welcome to our episode 12, AfterBuzz After Show here for Blackish. My name is Stacey. I told you never to call me here.
That was your husband. He heard what you said last week.
Right? And I'm here with my co-host, my wonderful Renaissance friend. D, tell them where they can find you.
What's up, guys? I'm DeAnJilo. Get my words together. I'm ready. This episode was so heavy, I just can't even get my words together.
Yeah, it was a little heavy.
It was still Blackish. It was real heavy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm DeAnJilo. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. Check the spelling. It's DeAnJilo. Add a TV to the end of it if it's Twitter. Find me on Instagram with the same name spelling. Stacey, where can they find you?
Oh, you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Stacey Newsome. That's Stacey. Or you can find me always in the winner's corner, because even though when Alabama loses, they still win.
Wow.
Okay, my alma mater. I gotta just keep it real.
It's impressive to wear that sweater after you got embarrassed on national TV.
I know. Embarrassed? There's no embarrassment.
Wait, was that a boo?
No, that was a win. That's a win. Listen, even when we don't win, we win. Okay.
So,
always proud to represent my school.
That
Always.
was a boo, which is a very
It
bad.
was a
Thank you.
boo.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I heard
I
cheers.
thought that was a boo.
I heard cheers. I'm
See,
sorry.
that's just like Alabama fans, oblivious to reality.
Just
I'ma
like
let it go.
Trump. Just like Trump.
Segue.
Oh, speaking of which, hey guys. So tonight's episode, it was a little heavy because they basically dissected, the unexpected win of Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton, and wasn't quite sure exactly in the timeline where this fell. It felt like it could have been right after the election. It felt like it could have been a couple of weeks ago.
They could have recorded it.
Yeah,
they had to record it.
But either way, I definitely reflected the sentiment of so many people in America right now. And what I liked about the episode is that it was balanced in its reflection and different opinions. So what did you think about this episode?
Well, I mean, once we realized that it was a serious episode, it reminded me of their episode last year, Hope, entitled Hope. It was about the gun violence going on, especially how prevalent that was. From a media standpoint, it was more prevalent. It's still like ongoing. I enjoyed it. I like when they do that.
Yeah.
It's weird because of how goofy the show gets, but I like the integrity they try to institute when they do that.
Well, I found myself not really laughing until a good 10 minutes. I had a chuckle at the beginning, and then the rest of it was like watching a panel conversation on CNN, with Van Jones, and it was like basically everything that everybody ever discusses on any news program on panel, they put into the mouths of these characters. So we didn't hear anything new in this episode, but we did get to like weigh, everybody's opinions and everybody's point of view, even the point of, like I felt like it was good because what I came away with about this episode is that we need to hear each other. We need to really listen and hear each other.
Well,
and that's the only way we're going to be able to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, we heard our last speech from our soon-to-be former president, and he kind of echoed this same thing.
Yes,
I know. Well, all yesterday, this morning and last night after the speech, everything on my Instagram feed, a bunch of Obama pictures, a picture with his family. It just make you want to cry a little bit.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you did.
I was in a fetal position.
And it's like, it's interesting because I can say like, I'm not for my age, I'm not super liberal, but like it's more of a connection with his persona and who he's representing himself to be.
Yes.
And like the relatability and the fact that he's black, like all of these variables. It's just kind of, it's that idea. Is like he's definitely like the coolest president that I've ever seen.
Yes.
And it was the first one I got to vote for, so that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton was the first president I got to vote for.
He was pretty cool.
He was cool. He was very cool.
Yeah.
He was, as everybody says, was the first black president.
Word. We used to say that to the real first black president.
But it's such a contrast though to watch his farewell speech and then to watch the Trump press conference this morning to see. Did you watch the press conference this morning?
No, I did. I heard about it though.
Yeah, to see like the totally different ways of communicating, just the total different ways of like just personality. You got, one person who's all about, just dignity and clear communication,
Class.
just an orator, and he's been basically perfect in his demeanor as a president. Like he was picked apart so much before he was even elected, and so for him to come through 8 years with no scandal, no scandal in his family, no scandal with his wife, no scandal in his administration, not really. I mean, you compare that to what we have going into the new administration, nothing but scandal right now.
But then the thing is, unfortunately, and I think it's a reflection of our society, he had to have been that way. Because if he was just rich and on a reality show and black, there's no way in the world. I mean, we don't got to get that. Well, we should actually. Like, I don't, like, it's just such a revelation of where our society in general is like, what are Trump's credentials? Like, like it's just, even if you don't even like him as a person, just look at from a politics standpoint. Money, he had money, and he was white. Like that's all he got. Like, but that's all it took for him,
Right, and I mean all that has been talked about ad nauseum in the media
and we'll
and everything.
keep talking about it. It's just not gonna like.
But in this episode, though, I liked how they clearly showed where everybody stood on this issue. You know, Bo was like depressed. She's a walking billboard for NPR, like Dre said. Then even at the office, what I was surprised about in Dre's workplace was that I was expecting the boss to have voted for Trump.
Really?
I was expecting that. I'm like, what? He didn't?
I think a lot of people would have expected that for Blackish, and I think it was good. It was a nice little spin, because there's definitely, like, I don't think, like, just because you're white, like, a lot of white conservatives didn't vote for Trump too. So it was interesting. I like who they decided to reveal as voting for Trump, because they gave the percentage too. 53% of white women voted for him, which is just so like, what? So it was, I like what they did in that the dialogue in that room was really good. Yeah,
it lets you into the mind of maybe what some voters were thinking. I mean, a lot of that is what, I don't know if you watch CNN, Van Jones has these roundtable discussions, I think once a week now, called, I can't remember what they're called, but anyway, he talks to Trump voters and find out what were they thinking when they, elected him, even though most people are like, well, I don't like his behavior, and I don't like him being, sexist and misogynist, but, it's always I voted for him. So what I liked about the show tonight is that they kind of let you into the mindset of, what would make someone who says that they don't like everything about him, but they voted for him anyway.
And it's the idea that I think, the boss called the people who voted for Trump nuts. It's the idea that we're kind of in a bubble living in a city. Yeah. We are surrounded by, cities are generally more liberal. Significantly. So there's an entire, and again, this is something that's been discussed, but I like that they involved it in the show. Yeah. There's an entire population that we don't see on a day-to-day basis that, does have that connection to the things he said. You know what I mean? 53 million people, so that was, I think it was just very thoroughly done for a show that was 25 minutes to get all of those perspectives in, get a dialogue going, and have a solution at the end of it.
Yeah. I guess the solution was we really need to listen to each other, but which I hope that happens in society. I hope that happens in America soon, because it's like, I'm frightened, like Bo is as to how many back steps it seems we've taken since this election, and it's not something that just happened overnight. It's been brewing over all these years, and now it's just like, boom, this is what we got.
Would you say? Oh, if I ask you a quick question, well, because I have. Whose persona were you closest to in the episode?
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Who did I identify most with? I'd say Dre.
Dre? Okay, I was similar in that note. I was the same, actually. I was just kind of like, I was kind of feeling like it was just kind of the idea of, well, it's kind of been bad for us already, like type persona. Like that's kind of how I felt, and maybe not as outraged as everyone else was. Yeah, it was just a revelation of the reality that we already knew.
Yeah, right? I was surprised, as probably as much as you were, because everybody was expecting a different outcome. Right. But as far as like like outrage is like, well, we've been outraged for a long time. Word. I like the discussion that the boss posed. What's his name? What's the boss's name? That's
a very good question.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Sorry. When they asked why didn't blacks come out for Hillary, and I love that that answer, because I connected with that, because I was having a conversation with one of my friends. She's white female, and she was like, "Oh, you got to get out and vote for Hillary. She's gonna be, the first female president. She's gonna be first." And I said, kind of tongue in cheek, but I meant it. I'm like, "Well, I've already had my first."
Word.
Word. I mean, I had my first already, so I'm not as excited as you are.
Well, and that was the, we don't want to get too political, but that was kind of the thing that made her unrelatable, is that they were kind of like trying to use this similar narrative with Obama, and it's just kind of like, well, she's not the same at all. Yeah. That's just not, obviously it didn't work. But yeah, man, it was a quality episode. I'm glad that me and you on the same page in regards to who we thought we were.
Or else we was gonna have to fight.
Right. We already fought about Alabama, Clemson. I don't even care about Clemson. I just hate Alabama. So
why are you hating on Alabama?
It's a sports rule for me. I never like the team that's really, really good all the time. Like I hate the Patriots.
Why do you have to hate on excellence?
I have root for the underdog. I love the underdog story.
Well, maybe the underdog doesn't work hard enough.
In this case, Clemson did. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out the boss's name. I'm on here. Oh, they don't have him on Wikipedia. We will have that answer.
Yeah. Peterson, is that his name? No, I'm thinking somebody else.
I don't know. I guess we shouldn't milk on that one too long.
Well, I love the quote that, what's her name? The white woman they hired back into the office.
Yeah.
What's her name?
You keep asking me names, and if I don't know the boss name, I definitely don't know.
Listen, we're so sorry. We're
gonna get y'all next time.
But
actually, happy to see her back and how they brought her back. That was pretty funny.
And I love how she said that Hillary Clinton was the Ben Carson of white women.
How great of a compare! I've never thought about it like that. I never thought
about that either.
But how great is that? Because that's probably, I don't know. Well, that's probably true. That's probably how they felt about her.
Well, do you think if Ben Carson had run instead of Obama 8 years ago, do you think he would have won? Do you think blacks would have come out?
Did his movie had come out yet? Remember his movie? His movie really put up his little popularity.
Yeah, I think his movie had not come out at that point.
I think post-movie, because I didn't know who the heck he was before, but post-movie, I was like, oh, that guy's cool. And then we heard him talk. So, no, I don't think he would have won, because he still would have talked like that.
But no, I mean, like, a lot of people did vote for Obama just because he's black. And, we all know that. So do you think people would have come out for Ben Carson just because he's black if Obama had not won, if it had been Ben Carson instead?
By the time we would have got to the presidential election, we would have known who he was. He would have had to have talked it. Like, I think it was Obama being black, but other variables too. Like, I mean, people wasn't flocking to Ben Carson. And I don't think, like, if he was cool, like a cool black guy, people would have still flocked to him. Like,
yeah, but nobody was talking about Ben Carson being like, a black guy running for president, because that had already been done. That had already been talked about.
I don't think it was because of that. I think it was because of the way he handled himself and the things he said. I mean, he didn't even I don't know. That's personal opinion, but like, I just don't think he just didn't have that. He didn't get to use that card. Right. You know what I mean? Because of how he handled himself and the things he said.
Yeah, he was kind of weird.
Kind of. Anyway.
Let's see. Oh, and then Junior's storyline where he learned more than the first few lines of the I Have a Dream speech. That was really poignant to me. That really resonated. This episode, just everybody was woke in this episode. I think America's woke now, as they said.
Hopefully. I don't know. America's complaining. I don't know if it's woke yet.
I think people who weren't woke before are woke. A little bit more aware. Yeah, I think liberals who just assumed that things were going to go our way are like more woke to like, wow, what? These people have a voice, and they actually came out in numbers and elected a guy that nobody likes because they're trying to send a message. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, really. I'm glad we're talking about this, because I did really like that. I knew we were going to talk a lot of Trump, but that's really poignant in bringing Lawrence Pops, his character, to talk to him. I thought that was symbolic one, because he's 2 generations above, and so he lived it. And then also the aspect of kind of focusing on the ideas of when when Dre's son, what's his name? Dre Jr.
Junior.
Yeah, Junior. I got that one right. All right, cool. When Junior kind of had that moment, and he realized all of these excerpts that, you know, Star Spangled Banner, all of these things, there was a section that we only really focus on.
Yeah.
And it's real, because I had that moment too, especially with the I Have a Dream speech. It's just kind of like, it's a level of propaganda from our education system, but also I think it's a time thing too. Like, there's some you can focus on, but so much. But I like that aspect of like, hey, don't just take what you hear, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go and research and like get a full picture so you can figure out how you feel about it.
Yeah.
And then when you do find out the truth, it does anger you, without a doubt, because there's an aspect of America where you just realize, man, this stuff is flawed. Like, you know what I mean? Just highly flawed.
Oh yeah.
But the optimism, you gotta have the optimism to get.
You gotta turn lemons into lemonade, like Zoe did.
Exactly, and so I think that was overarching thing in Dre's speech when he was at the job, talking about this is how we got to handle it.
Yes.
And Dre Jr. kind of having that revelation as well when he had to do the speech. Even the daughter's her moment was kind of like, oh, I'm going to give love. It's kind of that optimism that's what's going to keep us moving forward. I agree with that narrative.
I do. I can absolutely agree with that, because you gotta have hope.
Where?
You gotta keep hope alive. Like
it
Jesse
sounds
Jackson
cheesy,
said.
but it's true.
Yeah, Jesse Jackson he nailed it. Keep hope alive.
You gotta say it like Jesse. Keep hope alive.
All right. Well, wow. I think we have pretty much dissected an episode that dissected what's happening right now.
Word.
So, any last thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, 7 days until Barack Obama's not
I
president
know.
anymore.
I was crying so hard yesterday. Or was it because we didn't win the game? Okay. Anyway.
Hey, man, he's a good quarterback. I like him in this show. I'm glad we're talking sports on Blackish now. It's great. No other thoughts. We don't do predictions anymore.
Yeah.
I think we'll let them know every week that we're not doing predictions anymore.
All right. Well, DeAnJilo, where can they find you?
Yo. Find me on Instagram.
I thought you forgot where they can find you for a second. I'm like, hello.
I just like that you clapped at me. Because that's something I would do. I would just go like, what you got? Anyway, so guys, find me on Twitter and on Instagram. My name is DeAnJilo. Check the spelling, all right? DeAnJilo. That's for Instagram. Add a TV at the end of that for Twitter. Get at me. Where can they find you, Stacey?
Y'all can find me. Y'all. You guys can find me, excuse me, on Instagram and Twitter at the Stacey Newsome, STACEY. And also, guys, I have a podcast. You can find me on iTunes, SoundCloud, and that other one, Stitcher. Yes, my podcast is called Girl, You Won't Believe What My Husband Said This Time.
I love that title.
And of course, you can find us at AfterBuzz on iTunes, Facebook, Twitter. So, guys, we'll see you next week. You looking forward to next week?
I cannot wait to see you again next week.
Oh,
that's the highlight.
Aw, you're so sweet. Love across the table. Love. Thanks,
all right, guys. See you guys later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
We can't fit.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.